That's Nick. Nick, absolutely not. Nope.
First of all, the guy was 38-3 as a coordinator at Ohio State and 22-4 at Houston. He hasn't had a lot of adversity on the field, and Texas is going to go to USC early this year and lose, and they're going to lose to Oklahoma, and they're going to lose to Oklahoma State, and if they eventually play them, they're going to lose to SC in Oklahoma for sure. And by the way, at West Virginia is tough. At Baylor is going to be tough. At TCU is going to be tough, and he's going to have some adversity. But I will say this about rigid coaches. In college, they work. Woody Hay, Bobby Knight, Nick Saban, Jim Calhoun. If you start...
All right, so...
Here we go.
The Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. You guys are probably watching just... Sorry, forgot to turn it on. I'm never supposed to admit I made a mistake, but I did. So Aaron Cowan is here with me today. Jillian Collins from the Art Beat of Chattanooga. On Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, AM 1240. And we're here to talk about this wonderful city of Chattanooga and the artists that are here. Y'all know how much I love Chattanooga. And so we've got Aaron Cowan here, and we're going to find out about this portion of the arts, another local artist, and what your passions are, Aaron, why you do what you do. You know, so I'd love you to just kind of share on a roll, if you want, just kind of tell people who you are and why you're here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Before we turn the mics on, you were asking me if I was a Chattanooga native. I'm not. Like you said, I don't have the typical accent of living in Chattanooga for an extended period of time. I moved back here. I grew up in Middle Tennessee from like ages 8 to about 17, and I moved back in 2009 to finish my education in art. So I went to UTC, got my BFA in sculpture in 2012, and I've kind of been here ever since, trying to make the art community, you know, better, bigger, stronger, faster, in any way that I can.
And it seems like you're sort of, as far as I've been getting to know with the gallery that you are involved with, the Swine Gallery, which has recently moved, and there seems to be a kind of eclectic desire or direction that you gentlemen and people go in, because, you know, it sounds like you're not really looking for the traditional art that maybe is accepted by, I'm going to hang this over my couch.
Right.
You know, but I think we should hang the cool stuff over the couch myself.
Certainly, yeah. I'm involved with the Chattanooga Film Festival, and about a little over a year ago, they had the opportunity to start a local art house theater. We called it Cinerama. It was in the old grocery bar building on Main Street. And it was kind of an opportunity for us to, you know, cut our teeth and learn about how to do what we're trying to do. And part of that was, you know, figuring out how to get what we needed done. And with all the space we had, I mean, the grocery bar building is about 12,000.
What was that place called before that? Gonzo's? No. Enzo's
yeah.
Market. Yeah.
So they had a wine store in there, a little wine shop, and Chris Dortch, the director and programmer of the Chattanooga Film Festival, reached out to some local artists about managing an art component. You know, they've always tried to include the arts in their festivals and in their programming. So Matt Dutton reached out to me, and we kind of got the ball rolling on Swine, which is what we called it, because he named it when he got in there. He just kind of finger painted an S in front of the wine on a wine store, and it's just kind of stuck.
Yeah, it kind of stuck. Once you're called a pig, you're a pig. I mean,
yeah. And it kind of, you know, he relates it back to sort of Animal Farm and the sort of irony of, you know, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, and then the eventual reversal of 2 legs good, 4 legs bad.
Now that's a blast to the past, Animal Farm.
Yeah.
That was a controversial book that parents did not necessarily like their children reading, but I thought it was fascinating.
It was great story. Very important, especially in this day and age in our political climate. But so we just kind of ran with the idea. You know, we were given this 1,000 square foot space, and we wanted to do something that wasn't currently being done in Chattanooga. You know, we're filling this need for a project space, for sort of a DIY or punk sort of environment to, you know, paint on the walls, to, you know, smash things, to get dangerous, and really play and experiment beyond the normal traditional confines of what a gallery offers. So we were there for a handful of months and really took advantage of the space as much as we could, you know, activating the ceiling and, you know, like I said, painting on the walls. But we were only there until about November. And then we had a little bit of a hiatus until the film festival happened last April. And since then, we've moved into the Tomorrow building, which is located on George Avenue, right down from the Honest Pine.
So right in a great spot of downtown.
Yeah, right next to Nightfall and Miller Park, and kind of the heart of downtown. So we reopened April, May-ish, and we've done 2 or 3 exhibitions already. The space isn't quite as large as it used to be, so we are working with a smaller footprint. It's no longer a dedicated space. We're sharing the space with the lobby of the theater, essentially, which we're now calling the Palace Picture House. And yeah, so we've had a solo exhibition by Alicia Vera Buckles, fantastic local artist. She makes all kinds of paintings and drawings and collages. And we just got done taking down Bezar Eridini, her show, which kind of was about being an immigrant in today's, you know, America, and sort of what brings about the isolation and disconnect from just being a person in America. Very powerful show. One of my favorites. I mean, we've only had a few, but it stands out.
Do you photograph and record these on a website that you can share? Do you guys have that going on? And also you do have an opening tomorrow, if I understood you correctly. So you're hanging a new show.
Yes.
And tomorrow, at what time can people join you and see this work?
So we are currently installing a show called Cardboard Coverall Dreams. And that was sort of organized by Amy Royale and David Gabbard, who were 2 artists that worked on the Waynorama project. And during their time working there, you know, they were super excited and learned a lot. And the experience sort of changed not only their artistic practice, but their life in general. So, you know, with the Thrill After Thrill exhibition at the Hunter and with Waynorama, they really wanted to create a third component that sort of showed a little bit behind the scenes and, you know, highlighted the artists that came together to make this happen. So it's 13 artists in the show from all over. I mean, there's people from New York that are submitting work, New Orleans, Indiana. I mean, people are coming in from all over the place. The show will be opening tomorrow, first Friday, from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. We'll have artists on hand. They'll be there to talk with people about the work. We'll have a statement about the show, and we'll just be having a good time.
Yeah, First Fridays are awesome time for all of anybody in Chattanooga visiting to reach out to the artists in the community, to the galleries who open their doors, and it's free. And you go get to meet artists, have some refreshments, and see some work that probably you've not seen something like it before. And honestly, Aaron, I believe 100% that Chattanooga is leading the modern Renaissance with art. We are a hub. We're not, you know, we're not the biggest city, but we have an extreme concentration in Chattanooga of talented people who are dedicated to building the arts in Chattanooga and beyond. So I love it that these artists are coming from everywhere. And if anyone has not seen the Waynorama things, you're in for a life-changing experience just to see this. So, you know, these puppets basically are made of reclaimed materials, free materials. And
yeah, most of the time they're just sourced out of cardboard.
Yeah.
I mean, Waynorama is a very intense, large-scale, experiential installation. So bits and pieces of that will make their way into the show. I mean, the show we're opening tomorrow has sculpture. We've got paintings. We have sculptural paintings. We've got a puppet. Well, actually, the world's largest Wayne White puppet will be making its debut there, and everybody in the show kind of pitched in and worked on that collaboratively. We have an artist from New Orleans that's painting a mural on one of the walls. We've got a cardboard mural. If you want to know what that is, come check out the show tomorrow. Very interesting work. And we'll be having an artist talk later in the month. So the show is up until, I think, the 26th is the last day. On the 25th, we're inviting some of the artists back to talk about their experience working on Waynorama, working with Wayne White, what that was like and how it's influenced them. We'll probably also have some like recorded videos for some of the artists that can't be there physically.
Sounds like a really amazing, unique show, and I hope that everyone goes out to the opening. I will be out of town myself, but I hope that people reach out and embrace, you know, a newer gallery, so to speak, in Chattanooga. You know, there's a lot of existing galleries that have been here for a long time, and they're wonderful. But I'm always talking about the millennials, and I don't know if you're a millennial because I don't know your age. Are you Generation X or whatever?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'll be 30, so I think I'm lumped in with the millennials.
I think I'm the baby boomer or whatever. But you know, this generation, Aaron, I really see, you know, from the young people to the people in their 30s in Chattanooga, what you're offering, the film festival, the gallery, these things are unique because you see different artwork. It's not, you know, sometimes I think galleries stick to, well, they're going to want to buy that for their living room or something. But art isn't necessarily about that. It's about expressing our inner being, experiencing it, creating emotion and reactions in people. And this sounds like a fantastic show.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this show is kind of exemplary of what the mission behind the space is. So like you mentioned, there are several galleries in town that show maybe more traditional forms of art, you know, paintings, drawings, pottery, things of that nature. There isn't really anywhere in town that offers these sorts of non-conventional shows that show performance work or sculptural installation or, you know, something other than sculptures on a pedestal and paintings on a wall. And when we got the opportunity to work with the film festival on our Main Street location, you know, that was the main objective, was to provide a space that these types of artists could come and show their work, could come develop series like that in that vein.
Things like you taking a windshield of a car and mushing it into all kinds of shapes.
Yeah, smashing windshields, hanging cat dragons from the ceiling.
Cat dragons? What's that?
We had a local artist, Morgan Koch, create a piece for our opening exhibition last year. And she kind of makes these surreal, nightmarish, candy-coated paintings and drawings. And so she drew from that imagery and created this dragon that has like the head of a cat.
Oh, okay.
And it was enormous. It was probably like 12 or 15 feet long, and we hung it from the ceiling. We had 24-foot ceilings. And so this thing was kind of cascading down upon the viewers.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it was a very exciting space, very exciting time. And we're trying to carry that over to the new location as much as we can without getting in the way of, you know, people there to see films and stuff like that.
Right. And now that's a really fun venue too. The film festival is a great venue too, that I've certainly taken advantage of in Chattanooga myself. And when Cinerama, all that. I mean, what a cool eclectic space, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
love that.
we're so happy to have the theater. It kind of gives us a chance to bring the experience of the festival to Chattanooga for the rest of the year. So the festival is only like 4 days, but we're now operating every day of the week but Monday. So we've got all kinds of films. We've got new films and old alike. You know, we got Top Secret Tuesdays where you don't even know what you're coming to see. And we finally have our beer license, so you can come enjoy beer and some art and film.
Yeah, so that's a wonderful thing to do, and that's all at the Palace.
The Palace Picture House.
Picture House is now was the Cinerama
Mhm.
and the Swine Gallery are now one at the Palace Picture House combined at this time.
Yeah, and we're in the Tomorrow Building on the first floor next to Southern Squeeze and Jack Brown's.
Pretty easy to remember, the Tomorrow Building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right down there in the middle of downtown.
Well, congratulations on your new space. And is there anything else you'd like to share about, you know,
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
experience or whatever you personally as an artist, what drives you, anything like that? You know, why art? What, you know?
Yeah, well, when I graduated from UTC in 2012, I was looking at going to grad school, and those avenues didn't work out. So I was kind of figuring out my next move, and this opportunity happened with the film festival, with the gallery, and so I decided to kind of stick around and, you know, create opportunity here for artists like myself who are thinking of leaving Chattanooga, you know, for bigger, better opportunities. I figured, well, you know, this could be a really great way for us to bring artists to Chattanooga, you know, to create that draw.
Yeah, and let's touch on the artist residency program, because that, I think, is an incredible program.
Yeah, so that
Adam
was
came
right
on when you had your first artist.
Yeah, Ryder Richards
Yes.
last October.
Yes.
Which was great. So out of this idea of the gallery and wanting to create, you know, a draw for artists abroad and artists locally, we decided to develop a visiting artist residency program. Right now, Chattanooga doesn't really have one. It didn't have one at the time. So we made it happen. Adam had a studio space. We had the Swine Gallery. They were less than a block apart from each other. And with some guidance from some other local artists and support from, you know, our faculty and the art community, we were able to make this happen. And we partnered with En route, which is a local hostel, and, you know, they were our lodging sponsor.
How many people, I wonder, listening in or watching, know that Chattanooga has a local hostel?
We've got a couple.
We're cool. We're cool here.
We are. We're on the cutting edge. Best
We
time
are.
ever.
Yes.
So
So is that program still in place?
It is still in place. We're actually gearing up to do our second residency. We're bringing in Dana Lynn Harper. She's a sculptural installation artist. She'll be here from roughly mid-August to early September, and she'll be working probably in the Palace Picture House to develop a brand new installation. Her work is incredible. I mean, this year was very difficult to choose just one artist. We had several very strong applicants, and it was a very difficult decision. But we received feedback from, again, you know, faculty, the art community about, you know, what would be a really great fit for not only the program, but for the Chattanooga art community. And the mission of the residency program is to sort of broaden and expand and educate the current artistic climate in Chattanooga. So, you know, some people don't even know this kind of work exists, or that it can be a serious art form for not only exhibitions but for businesses.
Yeah, and some of this we may lose some people following as far as the technical terms and like what happens in your mind or my mind of what we can see about art and artists. But even as an artist, I've been an artist for as long as I can remember. And still, Chattanooga surprises me. New forms of art, new ideas surprise me. And there's just no end to that, you know. And I love it that you guys are encouraging the creative, springboard to explore.
Yeah, experimentation and growth is it's all part of learning and becoming a quote unquote master. I mean, not everybody starts out being an incredible artist. You have to start, square one. And that's really one of the things I love about art, is that everybody starts at the same place. Everybody has to learn how to handle their materials to create what they envision. So that's kind of what the gallery is about. The residency program is about education and access to these new kinds of art that people may not even know about. And we're really excited about bringing Dana here, opening the doors to the community to come help her create her installation. She's basically going to be transforming the space. We're going to give her the keys and say, do whatever you want. And so she's going to be creating a garden, actually, from flagging tape, neon plastic, string, anything she can get her hands on. And she's been very inspired by overpowering color, inviting textures, playful forms. She wants to create a portal into a new, invented world.
Love it.
Yeah. Using neon vinyl, holographic tape, found plastics, pool noodles, neon zip ties. You should really go check out her work.
Very Alice in Wonderland sounding here.
Yeah. If you're familiar with Electric Forest, which is a music festival in Michigan, she made an outdoor installation for them that was just incredibly powerful. Kind of created this amorphous sort of floating cloud shape that glowed from the sunlight, naturally lighting it. Really excited to bring her here.
Yeah, what a wonderful program. So, again, we've got Aaron Cowan here and involved with the Palace Picture House. I'm trying to I keep going to the swine thing. Palace Picture House. And I encourage you to check this out because it is a cool, I haven't been to the new space, but I know the venues that I have been to with the Cinerama and the Swine Gallery were very inspiring, fun, eclectic, and different than a lot of other places that you may find in Chattanooga. Also pretty affordable to attend to these things as far as I know, So I hope that Chattanooga will check it out. And tomorrow night at the Palace Picture House is the opening of the artist it's a combination of artists from all over the United States, basically.
Yeah, who helped make Waynorama.
With the Waynorama. And if you haven't seen that, go see that. That's on
Rossville Avenue.
Rossville Avenue, not Boulevard. And that is another world.
Yes, it's an incredible transformation of that space.
It really is. And it's like walking into another world. And it's all historical. Everything is explained. They tell about everything. So, our time is gone, Aaron. And thank you so much for joining us on the Art Beat of Chattanooga.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. So go out tomorrow night, First Friday, and I'll be back in a few minutes to share some more art with you about Chattanooga Workspace.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Now, me being a radio guy, I'm really not good with vehicles. Never changed my own oil, can barely change a tire. And sometimes when I hear a clanking, I just turn the radio up louder. Not a real good idea. So I need to be able to trust someone when they look at my vehicle. Well, I found the guys. Locally owned and operated here in Chattanooga. It's Precision Tune Auto Care. They're your neighbors. There's 3 locations in Chattanooga. And since they're Nooga Radio's official oil change center, they're going to extend the great deal they give to us to you. Just $20 for a standard oil change. Can you imagine that? $20 for a standard oil change. You're in and out in no time. $20 for a standard oil change at Precision Tune Auto Care. And they treat all of their customers like family. With show and tell, they'll show you what's wrong, point out the problems, and tell you exactly what it will take to get fixed. They really do have pride in what they do at Precision Tune Auto Care. Precision Tune Auto Care with 3 locations: 2125 Gun Barrel Road, Chattanooga, 4221 Hickson Pike, and Highway 58 next to Dunkin' Donuts. Call 602-5955. That's 602-5955. Precision Tune Auto Care.
We've got a table here at Delia's ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, near the Thrasher Light. Quesadillas, smell them coming. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos made fresh every morning. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch or dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. Mention Sean Hannity and save a dime on every dollar of your tab. Yep, 10% for the Nooga Radio listener.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis. You know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling. Rick's buying. Cash, cash, cash. We interrupt this commercial to bring you an important announcement. We're so close to Rick Davis' national TV show, July 28th, reaching over 80 million people nationally and internationally. Check your local listing for airtimes. July 28th. Rick Davis hasn't gone Hollywood. He's gone Chattanoogan. And Hollywood loves it. And so will you. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds debut show. See Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds Brainerd Road now. The autographs are free.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
The couple says they were robbed at gunpoint on Van Buren Street in Hamilton County. All they wanted to do was buy some weed. They were waiting in a parking lot, according to their testimony, when they say a Honda Civic pulled up with a white male driver and a black male passenger. The black male exited the car, pointing a gun at them, demanding their money. He left after being given just under $50. The couple says they knew the white male driver, identifying him as Jonathan Ivey, who's now been arrested. Bradley County detectives responded to a report of a child that had been burned and taken to the hospital, but they had to pull back after discovering the case was actually out of Polk County. Detectives there now investigating. Major job loss in the Chattanooga area. U.S. Express laying off nearly 100 employees. They say no drivers will be affected by the cuts. The reason is a shift in a business model. The corporate communications director says that it's a difficult decision. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Expect partly sunny but dry weather out there through your afternoon. High settling into the upper 80s. Tonight, fair, mild lows, upper 60s. For Thursday, some sunshine, highs 87 and 90. Just a slight chance of a late shower or storm, with showers and storms more likely later Friday. McBriar Realty is now Real Living Southern Realty, serving the entire tri-state area. Find your dream home now with Real Living Southern Realty. For their complete listings and more, rlsouthernrealty.com. And I'm Swarm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr on Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Welcome back to the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. I'm your host, Jill Ann Collins. This is Chattanooga Radio, 92.7 FM, AM 1240. Coming to you every Thursday from 1 to 2 to talk about Chattanooga art beyond the how our city, in my opinion, is leading the modern renaissance of art with the brilliant talent and ambition we have here with our people in Chattanooga. So we're here today with Holly Berry, and she is a local artist involved with apparently a lot of good things and Chattanooga workspace and stuff. So Holly, welcome. I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are talking about Holly's work, and I guess I'm also going to find out some things about you that I don't know. I did see you in action burning your wood.
It's a hard thing to forget.
Yes, yes. I came to a First Friday, and you were in your studio with a torch, and I think you were making, it was like a scene that there was a tree and maybe a landscape in it, and I just was staring at you going, wow.
I might have been working on my forest fire.
That was
at
it.
Time. Yeah,
that was
a lot
it.
of forest fires going on at that time.
Yeah, that was it. All that horrible smoke last year.
Yeah, it was something else.
Yeah, so that was cool though, because I remember, you impacted me with your type of art.
Once somebody sees me playing with fire, painting with fire, they usually don't forget. They go, years later, I say, "Oh my God, I remember you."
Yeah, are they scared of you with the red hair and the torch? Like,
well, if they get too close, I can always turn around, and that usually gives me some space. Some distance.
Yes. You're a little close.
Yeah.
So, I guess first let's tell people, I guess, what you do. Because in the background here, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook Live, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, this is Holly Berry, and we're talking about her artwork, which I saw for the very first time with her doing it.
Yeah.
And torching away.
Right.
How do you,
in front of an audience?
So I look at this piece here in the background, and if you can see us on YouTube or Facebook, that's great. If you can't, there is a large, I would say 4 foot by 3 foot panel or so.
Very good. It's about 48 by 30 inches.
Yeah, we artists can figure that.
We can estimate. So I have these.
Can you describe the figure for those who are just listening? Because this is an amazing piece.
Oh, thank you. So this piece features a dancer from the Chattanooga Fire Cabaret, which is a wonderful troupe that we have here locally. I try to catch every one of their performances that I can. And we have a dancer named Lucy, and she's spinning poi over her head with her body fully extended, and she's being illuminated by the flaming poi above her. And then behind her, you can see the silhouettes of some trees and some shadowy figures in the background observing her dance.
The detail is amazing. And you do all of this with a torch?
I do.
Or do you use other tools that burn?
I now have a variety of propane torches.
Oh.
So I started off with just a regular plumber's torch that you get from the hardware store. And the first few torch paintings I made, I used that tool exclusively. As I've developed and I've wanted to work bigger or smaller or have more detail, I've figured out how to use some more tools. Like now my big paintbrush is a weed burning torch. If you've ever seen one of those, like you melt ice with on the sidewalk. People will get really excited to see me use those. And then I still use my medium-sized paintbrush, which is my plumber's torch. And now I have a tiny paintbrush, which is a cordless soldering torch.
Nice.
Butane soldering torch. So I have a variety of tools, but I do use only flame. The only exception is I do sign the pieces with a classic wood burning tool like you might have played with when you were a kid.
So everything in this, and if you're seeing this, the detail is amazing, and it's all done with flame. I just look at this, and the detail is amazing. The contrast is beautiful, and I wonder, do you have to have special insurance with all these torches?
Well, luckily our lovely workspace building is insured, and it's made out of all cement.
Yes.
Cement floors, cement ceilings, cement walls. So it's quite fireproof, and I only use my little torches indoors, and my big weed burner torch I never use indoors. I only use it outdoors. I always have my fire extinguisher ready.
Wow.
And my leather gloves for tamping out little flare-ups. I haven't had any major incidents yet.
Major fires yet?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx myself, but so far so good. I keep it. I stay safe, and I keep it under control.
It's fascinating to me. Just to the detail you get, and that this. How did you come to be a fire artist?
Well, I wear many artistic hats, actually. I work on murals, also outdoor murals.
I'm going to pick your brain on that one.
Okay. My first passion is actually equestrian oil paintings.
Yes, I'm going to grab that while you talk about it, okay?
Yeah. I've been painting and drawing horses since I was a very little girl. I'm kind of one of those crazy horse girls that never grew out of it. So this is a piece that I did. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook Live, she's holding up a piece that I did for the Iroquois steeplechase in Nashville last year. Great race to attend, very nearby, quite affordable, and you can walk right up to the to the line, right up to the race course, and watch them. And so a steeplechase, the difference between a steeplechase and a flat race course is that they have jumps. So the horses race around the track, oval-shaped track, but then they also go over jumps. So it's even more exciting, in my opinion. So
it's lovely. Is it on oil?
Yes.
And it's done on a panel.
It is. It's on actually a cabinet panel. I wanted to do a panoramic composition, and I had that panel, and I thought, this is just the right size. I'm going to use it.
It's perfect. I love it. I picked it up, and I was like, oh, look at it, because it has the little edge to it as well.
Yeah.
You know, the
it's got a little beveling to it.
So very, very beautiful.
Very
and
neat
it's
piece.
funny because not that anyone cares, but that's how I kind of started with art.
Oh, yeah?
I loved horses, that I drew them my whole childhood.
Me too.
You know?
Yeah, I never stopped, though.
Yeah. I still do them
Much to
occasionally.
the chagrin of my poor art teachers and art professors who were always begging me to try something different.
Yeah, well, you're doing that now.
Yeah, I get out there.
Yeah. So I want to cover what you want to cover too. And I do love talking about your work. It's just fascinating to me. You know, the fact that, you know, my tools are paintbrushes, real, actual, and a jar of water.
Yeah.
Yours is a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
You know, it's your jar of water.
A key piece of art supplies that I
love
never
it.
thought I would need.
Right. What do you do? I burn. I'm a fire artist.
Yeah.
Is there a term for this?
I call it torch painting.
Okay.
Technically, it's probably a form of drawing, you know, from a, you know, categorization standpoint, but torch painting has a better ring to it. And it has a much softer, because the open flame creates a much softer, more even edge than you would think you would see with a traditional wood burning tool. So it's a kind of a variant on pyrography, but it really it comes out looking different. I've had people tell me that the figures, especially my fire dancer paintings, they look like they're emerging out of the darkness, and they look like they glow. And it's really a special challenge to get the actual flames in the painting to have that glowing effect, because my lightest value is just the natural shade of the wood. Wherever I have my whites, I just leave the wood untouched, and that's my lightest value, and then I go darker from there. So really the brightest thing in the whole painting is just, you know, pine.
Natural wood.
Natural pine.
And the detail, like in this fire dancer painting here, the detail on this, like even the stripes on the socks and the muscles in the legs, you know, to think about an artist doing that with flame, that's amazing.
I had a lot of fun with the stripes on her socks.
I bet you did.
That was probably my favorite part of this piece, was her striped stockings.
It's having fun. I think it makes art better.
Oh, I always
people
have
feel
fun.
that energy.
I always have fun when I'm making my torch paintings. I think people can sense the little bit of pyro.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very interesting. So tomorrow night, Chattanooga Workspace, which is 4 floors of artist studios.
Wonderful floors. 40. We have 38 studios, over 40 artists of all varieties. We have painters, sculptors, graphic designers, musicians, videographers, everything you can imagine. And we are doing probably we have open studio night the first Friday of every month, but this one is maybe the one I'm most excited about, since I've been there like 3 years. And that's because we're doing a collaboration with the Chattanooga Zoo. And this has been a project that I've been working on for over a year. And I've got my wonderful contact at the zoo, Hannah, has helped me work, be a liaison between the artists and the zoo. We each picked an animal, and we provided a surface of that animal, whether it was a canvas or a panel or fabric, and dropped it off, and she had the handlers help the animals make marks on it, whether it was tracks or some of, like, the chimpanzees actually use brushes. Wow. And then after the animal painted, we got them back, and all the artists are choosing how to interpret what the animal did. So some of them are painting, like, for example, I painted on top of my animal's painting and incorporated the marks into my own painting. Others have made separate pieces that were inspired by the marks or the coloring in the painting that they received. Some that did on fabric had hand-sewn elements over the top, or added 3D elements. So I'm really excited. And
so these are the things that are going to be in the gallery.
Yes.
At the opening at the Chattanooga Workspace tomorrow.
Right. That's right.
The
Tomorrow
animal
night,
paintings corroborated with the Chattanooga Zoo.
Exactly.
And actual paintings the animals have done.
Yes.
And then artists have gone back into.
Every one of those paintings was touched by a Chattanooga Zoo animal first. And we're going to have from 5, so it's tomorrow night, Friday night, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. The zoo will be bringing animal ambassadors to the event. So we will have some of the animal artists will also be present for the event.
I'm so upset that I'm not upset because I'm going to go meet my granddaughter tonight, but I wish I could be there.
I wish I could be there too, but I bet a lot of our listeners would have a great time. We've got music and wine. We're also having the grand unveiling of a brand new mural by Kenny Kudalis of Kudala Critters. And it's also his solo show on the smaller second floor gallery. So we've got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and it's a great space to go if you don't want to run all over the place for First Friday, because you can spend the entire time there talking to artists, seeing art.
You can spend the whole First Friday there and not see everything just in that building.
Yes. And you know, the joy that I see when you speak about it, Holly, it's the same thing that I hear from every single artist at the Chattanooga Workspace.
Yeah.
It's a family feeling. It's an inspirational grouping.
It really is.
And everybody just shines when they talk about it. So Kathy's done a great job.
Oh, she has. She has. Yeah. I'm from Texas originally, and I moved to Chattanooga 5 years ago. I didn't know anyone, and I don't have any family here. And Workspace has become like my little family here, my artist family.
That's really interesting, because you're the second person who told me that same exact thing, that another young lady moved here recently and joined in with the Chattanooga Workspace, and same thing. She didn't know anybody here. She was floundering, and then that place is now her base.
It's an incredible community, and everybody is so supportive and helpful, and you just make amazing connections there. You know, if you need I'm a painter, and if I needed help with, editing audio or video, or if I needed a logo, for example, I'm having a graphic designer in the building help me with some branding and marketing. So there's just so many resources there, and everybody's always happy to help.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I hope you guys can get out there, because you're going to be able to see the animal paintings, see zoo animals, possibly touch them, I would think, depending on
the animal. Yeah.
Because I know that when I went to the zoo fundraiser last year, I had a painting that I donated to that, and I went, and some of the animals were a little bit shy, but others we could touch.
Yeah. Maybe not the porcupine, but if they bring the bunnies or the tortoises.
Now I want to know what a porcupine feels like. That's so amazing. So
mostly like a lot of straws.
Yeah.
As long as you touch it on the side, not the ends.
Yeah. So let's, do you have a website people can go to?
I do. My website is very easy. It's hollyberryart.com. HOLLIEBERRYART.com. And you can see my torch paintings and my equestrian paintings both on the website there.
So you're still standing firm on the equestrians, and I bet this is lovely painting. This is
Thank you.
It's seeing that's two different styles, and myself too, I do different styles. It's obvious that you're not confined to one thing with art, that you can do multiple mediums and venues.
Completely unconfined, and I end up dabbling in probably too many different experiments, but these are my main focuses are the torch painting and the equestrian oil paintings. And I'm actually in a mentorship, advanced oil painting mentorship, with my very favorite oil painter in the region, maybe in the nation, Mia Bergeron. She's a local artist.
Oh yes,
here.
Is she with Arts Build?
She teaches Townsend Atelier.
Yes.
I've been doing an intensive mentorship with her, and my work has grown by leaps and bounds since I've been working with her. She's a fantastic teacher. So
that's what I hear too from everybody.
Oh yes. Yes. Patient, but also willing to push you when you need to be pushed. So, and of course, I admire her work immensely. And every painting that she produces, I just drool over. So anything I can learn from her, I am, ready and listening every single time.
There's nothing quite like oils. It's just no paint.
Luscious.
Terrible. Yes, I love that. They are. There's nothing quite like it. So what other things have you got going on that you want to share with anybody? You've got the opening that you pretty much put this all together for this zoo.
A lot of it, yeah. I mean, of course, I've got lots of help from all over the building. I've got, Stephen Lorca's photographers making the wall tags. I've got Stephanie MacGyver's the graphic designer, and she's making the vinyl files for us to put up signs for the show. Say, Artists in the Wild, which is the name of our show. And then, of course, Kathy is helping in every direction, putting things together. And, of course, all the other artists, I just, shuttled the pieces to and from the zoo and talked to the zoo. But, every artist has put, blood and sweat into each of their individual pieces. That's going to be part of the show tomorrow night.
Catches on like a wildfire, huh? Yep. So the fire keeps burning when you're involved, it sounds like.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So we have another piece here, and it's interesting, Holly, because as I told you when we first were talking before the show, that last week we had the Chattanooga Zoo here with. Now, did they bring the owl? We had an owl in here.
Yes,
that might not have been the
that?
zoo. That might not have been the zoo, but then you bring this owl piece.
Yes.
And
so that's kind of a different line.
That's what I wondered. This looks different to me than.
This is an experiment that I started doing. So on Facebook or
hold it up,
YouTube, you can see, I'll describe this image to you. So it's a plank of wood, and about 3/4 of the way down the plank of wood, there's a owl with its wings spread in flight, looking at the viewer. And it's very dark, and the owl is the lightest thing in the image, emerging out of the darkness. So this was part of a series that I've started where I actually go to the hardware store and I find planks and sheets of wood with interesting knots and patterns and grain. And then I use what's in the wood to imagine, like finding animals or shapes in clouds.
Mm-hmm.
I try to see what's in the grain of the wood, and then with my torch, I merely burn away the rest of it and to bring out that image that I saw in my mind that was already there in the wood. So I've got a surprising number of them turn out like owls. I guess the knots in the woods look a lot like owl eyes, but I've also got vultures, dolphins, angels, the goldfish, actually. And one of them was even the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Those pieces have sold, but the pieces I have here in the studio today are available. So I have one owl left until I make any more.
Yeah, I found it quite interesting, and I sensed just looking at it that you utilized what you saw in the wood, and that's exactly why you explained.
Exactly. It has a really nice effect too, because the grain of the wood follows around the wings of the bird, and it almost, to me, it makes me think of, like, if you ever saw a wind tunnel experiment, the way you can see how the wings of a plane or a bird would distort the shape of the air around them. And the grain of the wood does that. It goes out and around the wings and almost looks like it's being churned by the wings of the bird.
Yeah, it feels like motion and energy too, So I just love this, and I love it. So just very fascinating how artists can do so many different things, and I wish y'all could just see these in person, honestly. So
go to my website. Go on my website.
Your studio will be open
it
tomorrow night.
will.
People can meet you and see what you do.
I'll probably be spending most of my time in the Artist in the Wild show on the main floor, on the first floor gallery, because I love animals and I want to be around the animal ambassadors. But normally I will be up in my studio doing demonstrations. If you come on other open studio nights, you might be able to catch me doing a little burning.
Yeah, that's how I saw you the first time. So very cool. So as far as you drew horses, you love horses, you still love horses.
I do.
You ride?
I do. So I half, I'm on an artist budget. So I half lease a horse out at Hidden Hills in Ooltewah, and I go out and ride every chance I get. He's a grumpy old 20-year-old quarter horse Palomino named Dakota.
Oh, I love Palominos.
Yes. And my favorite thing is to trail ride. So, and the great thing about Hidden Hills is they have trails on the property. And of course, because I don't own a horse, I don't own a trailer either, nor do I own a car that is capable of pulling a trailer. So there's no way for me to take a horse trail riding unless, it's on site. So I go out there and ride around the trails, and it really centers me. And, if I'm having a rough day, it'll bring me back to earth. And, only so much can be wrong if you're on the back of a horse.
Yeah. or touching the horse or anything. They're very... engaging and regal creatures.
Oh yeah, they are. They're majestic, and that's since I was a little kid, it's hard to explain why I was drawn to horses in the first place, because I did grow up in Texas, where a lot of people think you ride a horse to school every day, but you don't. I grew up in Houston, and you sit in traffic for an hour and a half every day is what you do. But there was horses around. I grew up going to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo when I was a kid. Made some of my first starts in art, actually entering the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo art scholarship competitions. And, but yeah, I was something about horses, even though I wasn't around them. My family wasn't really into the horse scene, I was drawn to them anyways. They're just the power and the grace when they move. It's I have difficulty putting into words.
Yeah, it is a difficult thing to put into words. And it's funny because when I was like 12, I got real snotty about Christmas, and we lived in a suburban area, 5 kids. I insisted that if I could not get a horse for Christmas, I didn't want anything.
Oh,
that's how much
did that every
I was
year.
like, if I can't get a horse, I'm imagining my horse in the basement somehow or something.
In the backyard.
Yeah. Like, I don't want anything if I can't have a horse. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, we couldn't afford. I grew up in the lower middle class family, and we couldn't afford horses either. So I actually we did live in the country, and so I found a woman who was generous enough to let me muck stalls in exchange for riding lessons. So I would muck stalls and polish tack and do errands around the barn, and she would let me.
And you probably loved every minute of it.
I love it all. You know?
After a while, the mucking this, it's just like mud.
Yeah.
You don't even.
It's never bothered me.
So here we are talking about horse poop, and we're supposed to talk about art, but that's so cool. So First Friday is tomorrow, and every First Friday in Chattanooga, there are upwards of 15 plus galleries that are open to the public for free. You meet the artists, you see beautiful artwork, you get free wine and snacks at almost all of them.
It's incredible for the size of our city and the population, how much our art scene is thriving, how much talent we have here in the city.
It is a high concentration of artists with talent and drive here in Chattanooga. And that's what makes it so exciting, I
don't know any other place with so little traffic that you have to sit in. So many art events you get to go to as well.
Yes, and that's true. I think that's one of the big things about Chattanooga is you can enjoy our downtown area without fighting traffic.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, go down to Chattanooga Workspace, though, because it is an amazing place.
Yeah, you won't be bored.
No, especially tomorrow night with the animals and everything.
You probably won't see it all. Come a couple of times because maybe you do 1 or 2 floors per visit, and that would be a challenge.
Yeah, I've never made it all the way through in one day.
No.
It's a lovely place. So, it's been fun talking with you, Holly, and it sounds like you've got a really unique support system, unique style of art that you're doing. And I think you're going to be really successful. You already are successful, but, I don't tell every artist, I guess, but I really am impressed with your stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the first thing people will often say to me is, "Oh, I've never seen this before." And I went, "Well, you won't until somebody copies me."
So, Holly Berry, Chattanooga Workspace, thriving, talented artist. Thank you for joining us today on the Art Beat of Chattanooga. I'm Jillian Collins, your host.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Holly Berry.
My pleasure, Holly. So, go to hollyberryart.com to learn more about Holly, and join us next week. We're going to talk to more artists, musicians, anybody like that. Get a hold of me. We'll get you out here. Have a wonderful weekend.
Always look on the bright side.